Hello, I am Ho-Sung Wook from President of National IT Promotion Agency. We says it belongs the Ministry of Science and Technology, and then it is a agency that supports the small and medium-sized business to start their business, and so we are supporting this business to make inroads overseas. So we deal with business often, and we are going to talk about what kind of values can be created from the humans and public interest perspective. So I will skip the table of contents part. So has not been a public consensus that has been established on the metaverse. So metaverse is going to be a new platform that's going to be driving the future, and the government has announced a new metaverse new industry strategy. So you can look at the blue box at the top. The first is there's a converged space without a boundary between the virtual space and the reality, and second is a mutual interaction between the people and the objects, and the creating the economic, social, and cultural values. And most of the discussion in metaverse is being developed in game and entertainment, and this will evolve into the economy and the industry. So, and just like the smartphones did in the past, this will not just be part of the industry economy, but it will also evolve into a culture as well. So as for the next generation platform, let me explain to you the metaverse. We had Web 1.0 and Web 2.0, and we are seeing Web 3.0. And with the PC, the interactive communication was enabled. Within smartphone, there was more active collaboration and communications. And now, through this metaverse platform, we are expecting a new change to take place. And technologically, digital contents like AR and VR, this is not only what metaverse can bring, but with the semiconductor, blockchain, cloud, big data, and NFT. These are some of the elements. And with the smartphone of Apple, many things change in the past. Now we have the AR glass, and this kind of devices is not generally used and universalized, but as it becomes universal and as it becomes widely spread, then I think that will bring a significant or massive revolution in the future. Then what kind of change will it bring to our daily lives? I think that it will change our ways of working. As if you look here, in the metaverse virtual office, the work efficiency of metaverse-based office was improved by 3.2 times. So it's can work very flexibly and efficiently with the help of metaverse, and not just the individual lives, but also in ways of working in the traditional industries will also change, like manufacturing and education. You can show overcoming the metaverse to improve the productivity and efficiency. And if you look at the education, if you receive the education through metaverse, the scores can be improved by 50%, and the class hours can be reduced by 40%. And lastly is the creator economy. So while it was led by the company in the past, just as we've seen from the YouTube cases, the individuals can participate in the creation and production of the contents and reap some economic benefits. So the individual users are the content consumers and producer at the same time. So we call it prosumer. So metaverse will bring a significant change in our lives. So if you look at it from the policy point of view, in New York, President Yoon announced the New York Initiative, or digital initiative. So Korea playing being the model country for the world in the digital age, and there are several strategies to this. It says that we need to have the top competitiveness, digital competitiveness, and the part of it includes the topic about metaverse. So it says that we need to extend the territory. So we think the imagination determines the territories, and imagination, we can link this with technology. So that is the part that can contribute in expanding the territory. And if we look at it from the industrial lens, it is about leading the industrial development and in part about the ecosystem. I think there will be some metaverse issue in terms of establishing the right institutions that is needed. So we have the top 10 flagship frontier projects that we have in our mind in automobile, remote medical care, conventions, or policy academy, or device. Or at the bottom, there is the tourist or locally specialized services or winter Olympics. So we can offer this to provide the hyper reality service, and this will be covered later more in detail by Seoul Metropolitan City. And last month, the government announced the ethical principles for the metaverse. So it is about reducing the harmful contents, and the various social ills can be addressed through the metaverse innovation. So instead of just establishing regulations to address this, we thought that we need to first provide a guideline to bring forward the virtuous cycle or the positive role that can be played by the metaverse. So in the digital declaration, President Yoon said that we need to be the model country. So I think this is in line with that. So the responsibility for the future, the sincere identity, safe experience, and the sustainable prosperity are the three key values, and the 8 principles are responsibility for the future: authenticity, autonomy, reciprocity, respect for privacy, fairness, personal information protection, and inclusiveness. And Korean government will be doing a promotion locally, but we are also going to promote these values and principles globally as well. And lastly, let me briefly explain to you what we are doing in our agency. There are 3 things. First, we want to have a killer service. We want to have a lot of flagship projects like education and shopping. And home shopping is also discussing with us about how we can cooperate in metaverse areas. And then next is the innovation, which can enable overcoming the device limitations. So that can bring exponential growth. So if that is possible, we are also going to provide the support. And metaverse is not just a standalone industry or technology, but it can drive the innovation in the traditional sector like manufacturing and clothing. So if that is possible, we will be able to transform the old industrial sites and bring innovation like convergence. So we want to play a leading role in this area as well. So if I wrap up, then what is the value that can be brought forward by metaverse? So I'd like to talk about this before I finish. So because metaverse will be developed in the economy, it will be able to create new jobs, and I think in sustainable growth, metaverse will be able to make a significant contribution. And next, digital inclusion is very important. We need to address the digital gap and also provide support for the socially vulnerable. And if we can offer more opportunity for them, then I think the inclusive growth can be realized through metaverse. And from the ESG point of view, in terms of carbon neutrality, metaverse can also play a key role. So what I have been telling you now is continuously evolving, but I think this is the social value that can be brought forward by metaverse. Thank you for listening.
감사합니다. First of all, I just wanted to start by saying that congratulating ROK MOFA on this whole event. It's an unusual thing for a foreign ministry to do. It's very innovative, and in Hebrew we would say kol hakavod, which means all the honor. So let me start, please, with a confession. I admit that I have been a skeptic of virtual reality ever since I first met hero protagonist delivering pizza in Snow Crash. I viewed Neil Stephenson's foundational Metaverse novel as a dystopian vision of the First Order, a critique of the gamer culture already manifesting itself in the 1990s, actually a call to remain rooted in reality. I also confess that I believe the cell phone is a dopamine addiction. I know because I'm an addict. Mobile telephony, while connecting us as never before, is also enslaving us to the modern economy. But it is making me possible to serve as ambassador in Korea today because I can speak to my children back in Israel and actually see them on WhatsApp for free. As an embassy, as the Israel Embassy in Korea, our public diplomacy effort makes aggressive use and is deeply reliant on all the relevant S&C platforms, the same platforms which seem to be undermining democracy and degrading the standing of objective fact around the world. I believe the notion of a neural chip is a dangerous attack on the autonomy of the human personality and a threat to human dignity. The cell phone with its earpiece is looming dangerously close, but at least has not yet breached the cerebral divide, and we can still maintain independent thought. I hope that humanity will have the wisdom to resist the neural chip. I'm not sure it will. But I also believe that Wikipedia, with its wisdom of the collective, is an empowering gateway to knowledge in a way we could never have anticipated. A true Athenian agora where universal access to human knowledge is accrued. The Google search algorithm is better than Spock's enterprise computer. And for all its faults, we can hardly connect our work today without it. So I am a skeptic, but also an enthusiast. Like everything with the new interconnectivity, there is incredible good and plenty of bad. With these cautionary comments in place, I would like to present something really good. This is a new tool which the Israel Embassy in Korea has developed together with a local company, Vrilar, the Israel-Korea Metaverse. I believe this is an instrument which can never replace and should not replace real-life engagement between actual people, but it is a platform which can bring together persons and groups located at huge physical distance for beneficial mutual learning. This is a unique platform for sharing an immersive experience of the history of Israel-Korea relations and for carrying out all kinds of interesting interactions between Israelis and Koreans who are living 8,000 kilometers away from each other, and yet to be right next to each other in the virtual lounge and conference room. So let's take a look at what this is. You're looking at the Israel-Korea Metaverse launch, which took place in Hangdae in September. Our Metaverse architecture is based on the Shrine of the Book in the Israel Museum in Jerusalem, which is a beautiful building which holds the Dead Sea Scrolls. You can choose to be represented in our Metaverse by an Israeli or a Korean avatar, which do not look like you, but you can either be male or female. That's me. You will meet Albert Einstein at the entrance, and in the exhibition gallery, we have an exhibition of 60 years of Israel-Korea relations. It works from your phone. You don't need any equipment. On the second floor, we have a conference room. Hang on, I'll see exactly where we want to go on. I think that's enough of that. You get the idea. On the second floor, we have a conference room where we have a lounge, and we also have a conference room requires a password to enter. And there's much more functionality, and we can have a lot of talk, and we can have all kinds of lessons and conferences and things that we want to do together. So what are the opportunities in this project, and what are the challenges, and is it hype, or is it really something? Well, the opportunity is that it's a groundbreaking initiative. I know I'm sort of like tooting our own horn, but our embassy is the first Metaverse embassy in Korea. I think it's the first Metaverse embassy actually anywhere in the world. And it's a new tool which enables us to create a direct interaction between young Israelis and young Koreans who are far away from each other, and flights are very, very expensive. It gives us, as an embassy, a permanent exhibition space, which is free, and there's no need for us to transport art or to plan 3 years in advance what we're going to put in it. This metaverse, it's true that the avatars are not unbelievable, but there's no need for special equipment or gear. The metaverse is operated by a free application available on Google Play or the iPhone store, and it's called Israel Korea Metaverse, and I urge you to download it right at this moment. It's also an appropriate tool for next-gen engagement, and it's also a suitable platform in COVID times or on stormy days when it's hard to get people out. Basically, speaking ambassador to ambassador to my colleagues in the room, it's a really cool project, and it will be very much appreciated at home as well. However, it has its challenges as well. Our major challenge is that we need to create an audience and an event structure for everything we want to do. We don't have a community. We don't have an obvious clientele. We have a product, but the shoppers don't yet exist, and we have to work hard to create them. This project also requires supervision. In other words, someone from our organization has to run it. And it's a major investment in planning and management. The product needs to be built where it's like when websites were once built by code. There's no Java. There's no software to build your metaverse. You have to build it from scratch. So there's significant cost for design and maintenance. And for something that we wanted to do, and we wanted to make it both affordable but also manageable, the maximum amount of people who can be on the metaverse at any one time is 30. Our challenge is bringing 30 people to be there most of the day. Now, I'm hoping that this platform will become chaotic and difficult to manage due to the large amount of users and the demand for time in our conference room, which, by the way, is called the E=MC² conference room. Our challenge as an embassy is to make this innovative functionality popular in Korea and Israel. These are countries that are young at heart and open to the new experience of engagement, but it's still something that we have to work on. I think it will be a problem for the entire metaverse industry. We conceive of a metaverse with Hebrew and Korean language clubs, an Israel-Korean film festival, virtual meetings of the Alpine student climbing clubs of Israel and Korea, a hangout for lovers of K-pop, Pansori, and the Hebrew Bible, a place for talk and debate on archaeology and autonomous vehicles. If we can add in the coming months added levels of virtual reality experience, perhaps our metaverse will also become a place for Israel-Korean Taekwondo enthusiasts, for a Buddhist Kabbalah meditation seminar, a space for learning new steps of Israeli folk dance. This project is an experiment. To the best of our knowledge, it hasn't been done anywhere else. I'm sure that this is the way forward. It won't be the only tool for public diplomacy. Of course, we will always want to bring real people to Korea, and we will want to hold actual academic conferences with academics meeting each other and having lunch in the room. And we will want to have cultural performances, and we will even want to bring art which is not NFT. But I think that the embassy metaverse will, in the next couple of years, become the essential standard for any embassy, just as websites once were and SNS channels now are. Every embassy must have them, and I think that this will become the case in the next 5 years. The Israel-Korea metaverse will not downgrade actual reality and real-life experience. We are not going to be part of a dystopian vision. It will create new avenues of interaction for people at distance, like Israelis and Koreans at the opposite ends of Asia. This is what we can achieve at present, at least until the Star Trek transporter is up and running sometime in the next century. Toda rabah, thank you. 감사합니다.
Hello, my name is Kyeong Lee. I'm the Director General of the Digital Policy Bureau. It is a great honor and pleasure to be here today to deliver my presentation and to introduce about the Metaverse. So now I will start my presentation. So we can think about what the Metaverse is. So there are a lot of definitions around this, and if we think about the definition of the Metaverse, I think it's space where the public interest value can be created by organically linking the real world with the virtual world. Now let me tell you about the Seoul City's Metaverse trend. So the government has set up the virtual convergence economy development strategy and has been building the virtual ecosystem. And the Seoul Metropolitan City set up the Metaverse Seoul basic plan, and we are building our first phase. And this year, this November, Seoul City was selected as one of the 200 best inventions of 2022 by Time magazine. Well, if we think about the benefits of Metaverse, I think it is the fact that it enables the hybrid reality, such as a gamification effect, and it has a differentiating factor compared to existing online and offline service. So how does it differentiate itself from the existing online and offline services? Well, offline there are constraints of time and space, and also the physical constraint exists. But in the case of homepage, we unilaterally deliver the information. So depending on how people understand it or interpret it, it can have a different outcome. And in case of a video conference, there is a so-called Zoom stress. And then it's difficult to concentrate for during the long hours of a video conference. And there is a limitation to link the game with the administrative services. On the other hand, Metaverse, it enables the immersive participation. And Seoul City had a very outstanding infrastructure built in place, and based on this infrastructure, we came to introduce this Metaverse to offer a new experience that goes beyond the reality. So last year, we had this New Year bell ringing ceremony and other events in Metaverse, and many citizens participated in these events. And there are some things that we regret. Nevertheless, there are a lot of work systems internally, but it was difficult to link the Metaverse with this kind of business process or work system, and most of the events are one-off. So it's difficult to provide sustainable services. So in our Seoul Metropolitan City, we made a scalable platform, and we linked this with the existing Seoul City's online and offline administrative service. And it also plays the role as a communication channel with the Seoul citizens. Now let's move on to the next slide. Let me explain to you about Metaverse Seoul, which is the new territory of Seoul. The goal of the Metaverse Seoul is a future city created by the citizens, and the opportunity city where the additional value is created, and the communication channel where all citizens enjoy. The first space that we created is a space for creativity and communication. So we want the citizens to leverage their creativity and express themselves and communicate with one another. Second is the hyper-reality space. So anyone can use the avatar and overcome any limitation in the real world and use the administrative services without experiencing any discrimination. And lastly is the a convergent space with the reality. By linking the real world with the virtual world, we want to offer dimensional public services. And the direction of the Seoul City is to linking across all of the administrative, offering the administrative service across all sectors and offering convenience so that all citizens can participate. And we have started the pilot service in 2021, and we are launching the first phase service this year, and we plan to implement this by 2026. And this is the basic timeline of pursuing Metaverse Seoul. Let me introduce to you the service that was implemented in the first phase. We have created digital contents to foster companies, and we are going to open up the floor to enable exchange between the startups. And we have the FinTech lab that we are operating, and this is a virtual space, and we will be attracting the companies, and this will be the place to attract investments. And we are also going to create the space for education. We have the avatar virtual counseling room, and we have like a small little prince, or you can go in using a different avatar and receive a counseling service about any concerns that you have. And we are linking this jointly with the Seoul Run. And the civil complaint counseling and the tax counseling is also provided in this metaverse. And after these complaints are processed, then the citizen can receive the feedback about this outcome. And in the tax square, people want to know how much tax they have to pay. So starting from the calculation of the tax, and the counseling will be provided, and various civil documents or the public documents can be provided using this service. And the citizens living in Seoul, they might want to come and talk with the Seoul mayor. So regardless of time, they can come to this metaverse mayor's office and then ask questions to the city mayor and also make a recommendation. And in line with the 4 seasons, we have established the experience zone. So we have various services that we have planned, but I think what's really important is operation. So we will be linking with all departments in operating these services, and we will be collecting the citizens' opinions so to make this practical services. And ethical guide for using the metaverse is very important, and we have set the 3 basic principles: respecting the rights and mutually respecting one another. So we have this principle of respect, and second is pursuing the public interest and value and caring for the socially vulnerable, and third is organically linking with the reality and abiding by the social principles. So these are the 3 basic principles of the Metaverse ethical guideline. This is to address various social ills that can arise in the metaverse world. So Seoul has started its initiative for metaverse, and we are actually the first city to do so. So I'm sure that there will be a lot of trials and errors, but we will earnestly engage its endeavors to open up a meaningful forum for all of the Seoul citizens and offer effective and efficient services and inclusive services to Seoul citizens. And we are going to offer public services that is highly immersive. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Yvette Wohn. Currently, I'm a professor. I'm a professor at the New Jersey Institute of Technology, and I'm actually a professor at computer engineering. My study area includes HCI. It's a very fun area to study what kind of activities are being made in the virtual world by actual human beings. Now they said some of the presenters or the panelists said that the metaverse, we are just seeing the beginning of the metaverse. However, in our past, about in 2005, of course, metaverse existed. Now, looking at various virtual world in the metaverse, by looking at the second kind of identity of themselves, and now they are communicating and they are interacting with others. So those kind of interaction, virtual interaction among the actual people, is the one of the study areas. Today, I'm here to provide a kind of advice. Second Life. In 2005, I first encountered the term Second Life. At the time, writing as a journalist at the time, writing a news article, the topic was very interesting. And then I listened to a class prepared by Harvard University, and then that triggered me to study further. Abroad. And I studied abroad in U.S., and then I am now a researcher. For a certain time, I was a creator. And I found that, while creating my own content, that there was no item, hanbok, Korea traditional suit, in the items for the avatars. So I suggested that we should have a hanbok as an item, and then I built a Korean traditional house in the metaverse. And then right next to my house, a person made a kind of structure for advertisement, kind of for adults. So this case shows that you may think that the virtual world is a kind of free world where you can do anything. But being able to anything in this world means that some of the people may violate some basic rules, right? So at the time in the world and in the metaverse platform, they created this kind of regulations to regulate this kind of adult targeting some advertisement tower. At the time, buying some land in the metaverse was free. However, in the metaverse, there was a kind of a real estate agent. The person who created the real estate agent, he created a village, a beautiful village with some houses and some buildings. And then he sold the village. And he sold some buildings in the village to other people. Actually, yes, he monetized his assets. These days, people say, most people in this industry, they keep saying decentralization. Now, the metaverse, it is virtual world without any regulations. However, living in the metaverse, living in the virtual world, now people, they search for kind of regulations, right? If we have some same problems in the metaverse, then the problems that we have in the reality, in the metaverse, then the problems will not be solved naturally. On SNS, we have some fake news or some hate comments. Most recently, there was plenty of fake news, circulating on the SNS platforms. So during the COVID-19 pandemic, then even with the metaverse, we cannot resolve this issue right away. Currently, okay, there are various wide range of content in the internet. You may think it is those contents that have been freely uploaded. However, most of the contents have been censored already. So you are looking at censored content. You may think this way. We have well-developed AI. If we can utilize AI, then we can solve this problem. However, currently AI cannot beat human beings, especially for the category of bad behaviors. It is still kind of a primitive level. So AI engines sometimes use bad words or they misuse some kind of expressions. Human beings are more creative than AI. In some cases, they utilize emoji for their comments, okay, to avoid the detection by AI. On the left side, some hate comment against the black people. The messages on the Twitch. It was a real-time broadcasting, so it was not easy to censor these hate comments. The racial, and the using those kind of comments was prohibited. However, by using some emoji like with the black face, they avoided this kind of a detection or the censorship. So AI failed to detect this. This is just an example. There are numerous examples out there. Yes, AI, of course, AI will be advanced on and on, but the key message over here is that we should not rely on AI 100%. Some portion of the job should be done by human beings, even if we work with AI. The biggest portals globally, they hire some low-wage workers, and then those workers, they review some reported comments and then delete them. On Twitter, Twitch, or Instagrams, okay, these platforms hire some people called commercial content moderator and Wikipedia and Reddit. They work with the volunteer moderators. So these days, these moderators, commercial content moderators or the volunteer moderators, they are reviewing the most of the content. Actually, they are looking at more content than AI. And rather than just text, now we have rich media, including audio or the videos, which means that it is very hard to moderate all the content. In Horizon, there was a female avatar, and the male avatars surrounded him. This female avatar, and then those male avatars expressed some hate comments. And she said the female avatar argued that she was raped. So, to prevent such kind of cases, they created some kind of bubble to protect the body of the avatar. But even in the metaverse, if you are with your lover or girlfriend or boyfriend, you want to be close to them, right? Rather than being surrounded by this bubble. Yes, by creating this bubble, they solved one problem, but it cannot solve all the problems, right? In the physical world, yes, we have similar issues, similar problems, which means that the problems we have in the physical world may occur in the metaverse in the same manner. We have numerous contents uploaded every day. You may say the naked content is prohibited, or however, what about this picture? This is masterpiece with a naked woman. This kind of content can be censored if we just apply a single rule. I mean, the prohibiting the naked body. So I think that we should. I think we should create some kind of conditions or environment. I mean, where the users are restraining from the uploading those harmful content. And then those moderators, they receive a lot of stresses while reviewing the content, it's a harmful content. Then how we can reduce the stress? How we can mitigate the stress? And then we are also studying the data or network, relevant network. We have, I think I have, okay, some of the presenters or the panelists, they mentioned about the ethics, right? I think that, I mean, the talking about the ethics is kind of very forward-thinking attitude. Ethics should be part of this new platform. Currently, we are mainly focused on the technology, the level of technology. If we have advanced technologies, then we will have less manpower. Globally, there are still some countries where the internet is hardly available. Even if when I visit an advanced economy, sometimes I experience some difficulties in using the internet. To use Metaverse, VR or AR equipment or gear will be needed, and only those who can afford the prices of the gear will be able to use the Metaverse, and that will create another widening gap between the rich and poor in the Metaverse world. We cannot solve every problem with a single solution, of course. Yes, we will have problems and problems on and on in the Metaverse, like we have in the physical world. Okay, we have been, I mean, Korea has been a front runner, especially in the sector of esports or other some kind of digital world. But sometimes in some industries, we are a bit behind. Why is that? Maybe because of the regulation, maybe too strict regulations, maybe because of a lack of content. At this stage, okay, of course, the relevant technologies will be developed further and further for Metaverse, and so what is important, I think, is to create environment for organic growth of Metaverse. Thank you.